Hello, and welcome to the summit where we're discussing with Susann Björklund about what is awakening, what does it really mean for individuals, and how does it lead to the new age that we're all hoping for so much. So welcome, Susann.
Thank you so very much.
Last time we met with Susann maybe 3.5 years ago, and we had a little discussion about these issues. And then you had just about started with your work in this visible work with the world and the people. You had put up some really beautiful YouTube videos that intrigued me and intrigued many others. And nowadays you have quite a big following of people whom you are helping daily and weekly with your videos and calls and whatever. So would you like to tell something about what you're doing right now before we go into this awakening process?
I think you pretty much summarized it. I am investing a lot of energy on my membership site. And of course, there people can join in a community and they can discuss different topics. I am in a process though right now where I want to expand it. I have a vision that people should come together and help each other out and meet each other, especially in Sweden. A lot of people are alone. And I always encourage for people to meet up, to help each other grow. And especially when we learn so much about what we can do to grow, to become ourselves. We can help each other out. You can always have like a buddy that you can contact each day as a support, so we can support each other in this process. So I'm very much leaning into it all, becoming more practical, no more sitting at home and just watching videos, but to really make things happening. So I'm kind of in a transformation process now. I'm definitely going to do more videos on YouTube, of course, but I also want to actively help in making people come together and doing the best I can there.
So you are like wanting to build up a community where people
Community is everything. It's not about us. Even if we have a message to share, I do believe it's all about being practical, especially this year. There is no more passivity. It's not possible anymore. It's going way too fast. And it's really time for everyone to believe in themselves, to step up, and that we come together. And it's super scary because we are so used to being individuals with our own routines, our own barriers. But I think that time is over now. And I think it is long overdue. It was kind of anticipated, and now it's going to happen.
There's one little fact that I want to bring in here, because last time we met, I heard that your father and mother are from Finland, actually.
Yes.
Your father was a Finnish Swede, and the mother was Finnish Finn, and they met on a boat to Sweden, and you came up, but you've lived your life in Sweden.
Yeah, mostly. Yeah.
Yeah. And the funny thing is that, like, I see us Finns being we are the individuals. We are like lonely wolves and whatever. But you are a Finn, at least genetically. and you're in Sweden, which is more social, more community.
Yeah.
Oh
my God. I didn't even know Finland was that bad.
Yeah, well, I see our countries as Finland being the lonely wolves and Swedes being lonely also, but they're trying to make a community. They're more social in a way.
Huh.
Well, I haven't lived in your country, but
I was going to say I didn't know it could be much worse than it is here, but I realized, like in the East countries, perhaps I would almost think that Finland, Russia, whatever, probably not that social.
No.
But people are really suffering from being alone. We're not supposed to be alone. And I think the more we are alone, the more we start to protect ourselves instead of reaching out. And it's really insanity, because so much effort for people is basically about two things: meeting people or meeting a partner, and trying to reach out with whatever creative work they want to express. So it's all about networking. It's all about relationships. So why do we have to pretend that it's not, that it's about being independent and strong? It's not about that. That is like the ego defense, because it's so scared of opening up and being vulnerable to other people. So that's like an ego defense. You can be strong, but the way to be strong is not that you have to be independent and have to manage everything yourself or you're a failure. That is just the lies of the ego. It's not about that at all. And it is scary, but these walls really have to come crumbling down now. And I think that is the major crisis for people. I know a lot of people are focusing on natural catastrophes and war and pandemics, but I don't think that is what we are really scared of. We are scared of this, changing our individual routines and actually meeting up. I think that's what we're really afraid of. And I think that's what we're going to see happening. And that is our crisis and our transformation.
And actually the awakening that we are, in a way, looking for or working for is awakening from the ego trap, the fears that make up our ego. That's awakening. And then you see that there's not only me, but I mean you, and I mean every person. The same living life force is everywhere. I'm not alone. I'm carried by it. I mean, embraced by it, loved by it, and it comes when we go through the ego death or the awakening.
Yeah, exactly. And therefore I say that the era of watching videos is past, because it's one thing to know in theory that we are loved, that we are life, that everything is well up there, but we are not embracing it until we are living it. So we are still keeping it at a distance as a hope, as a comfort, but to actually live it, that's where it becomes scary, because then we have to let go of the only darkness that really exists here ever was separation.
That's right.
And we are still holding on to the separation. We're holding on to darkness, and then we are asking to be saved from it. But really, we are the one holding on to it. So how can we be saved if we are the one choosing to hold on to it? So that is the big, big, big change. And the ego death, as it's called.
Yeah. And I think there's this deep sense of a child yearning to be seen in all of us. We are like, there's this child energy, which is sort of child needed the parents' support, and it's natural there. But to wake up to our independent being, we need to let go of that. The child doesn't need to be yearning there anymore. Otherwise, the child is afraid, yearns for the being seen, and it's afraid of it as well. And that energy I see is the thing that we awake from, that we become adults in a way.
I mean, it's very stigmatized to be needy. And I see that all the time. If you are a woman, if you need for someone to care for you, you're needy. And a man, of course, is not supposed to be needy at all. But the truth is, all of us are needy because we have these needs. And this weird that it's stigmatized, because at least when I talk to in my private sessions, the only problem that anyone ever has was that they weren't loved when they grew up. They weren't loved by their parents. They weren't seen by their parents. So everyone has this lack. So how can we say that someone is needy? We are all needy because all of our lives are pretty screwed up because we weren't loved. So it's all about love. It's all about being seen. And then we have some constructive methods to be seen and some not so constructive methods of being seen and loved. And because we don't want to admit that we want to be loved, we do weird things in order to get attention and love and appreciation from other people. And these things are misunderstood. They lead to conflicts. And sometimes we just protect ourselves so we will not get hurt again. So this is like the drama that I see playing out in relationships. For sure, we could save this place if all of us just became real.
And in reality, as far as I understand, the love that I'm yearning from you or somebody else, it is in me.
Yes.
And when I learn to express it instead of waiting for it, that's the beginning of the new world.
Yes. And the problem with that, why we don't do that, is because we are still in the ego part that says that I'm not gonna love, I'm gonna wait for you to love me. So I'm gonna sit here and wait for your hug, and I'm not gonna stand up and go and hug you. I'm just gonna sit here and wait till you hug me, or else. And that, of course, is not constructive. And we are not loving ourselves. And that's the major problem. Because if I perceive that I am not loved, all I'm really saying is that I am not loving me.
Yeah.
And it's a small little change of mind that needs to go in. And everyone who experienced that journey when they have felt a lack of love and then realized that they were themselves who didn't love themselves, everyone who's done that journey knows exactly what I'm talking about. Something plops like, oh my God, how did I miss this? I did not love myself. I couldn't even be alone at home preparing a nice meal just for me. I couldn't give myself that love. I was unable to give myself that love. And as soon as you give yourself that love, you become safe. Yeah. And you are there as an available human being to other people to be loved by you. But you're basically not available to love anyone when you are not loving yourself. And that's why it's so stupid, really, that's what's going on.
Yeah, isn't that what we can call awakening? That you wake up from your fears of not being loved to being the being that can love, that can express love, spread love, and be love in all kinds of relationships.
Yeah, that's what I would say. The process is about ending the separation.
Yeah.
And we are not in war with anyone. The definition of war is to be separated, to refuse to love, to refuse to let in, to refuse to understand. That is war. So therefore we have to stop it, of course, but we have to stop projecting that there is an enemy out there. Because what we do is this: as soon as someone is not seeing us or not giving us love, we say it's an enemy. Because we will not say that someone is an enemy if they appreciate us and give us love. So it's all really, I'm not going to say childish, because this whole pain is all about not being loved, and that is very, very important to us. But it's in a certain way a bit comical, a bit ridiculous, that we keep believing that we have to fight evil, but we don't want to fight it. We just want the evil to love us, so to speak.
Yeah. That's the basic need for all of us. Do you have any sort of like you meet many people, what is your, when this problem comes up, how do you help people? What is your way? Do you have a method or thing that you usually do to help people to find out that they are the love that they've been seeking?
I guess all of the things that I talk about is leaning towards people remembering who they are. And that is the first step. It's like a hint of light, suddenly a realization. But the next step has to come from within the individual. And I use different pedagogical methods depending on if I'm talking to an individual person. I usually see I should address this like this with this person. But then there are also, of course, some universal tools you can use that for sure will help. And everything of learning that you have to be conscious. So because when you are conscious about what you're doing right now, I am doing this because, and you have to listen to yourself. You have to make sure that you don't do anything because you have to. Because then you tell yourself that I am not the boss of my own life and decisions and responses. And that is simply not true. You are responsible for all your responses. And as soon as we start addressing that, we do become more conscious. And we also have to be aware of what kind of feelings we are feeling during the day. If I watch a movie with a lot of special effects, I'm going to be pretty shut down. I'm not going to be awake. I'm not going to be responsive. I'm just going to watch it and watch the different things move. And not much is going to happen within me. But if I had spent the same time talking to a stranger, I would have opened up for other feelings within me. And this is like a nutrition that we have to keep on giving, keep on doing. We have to open ourselves up. We can't be passive. And then, of course, the big thing right now is trauma. Everyone is dealing with their trauma wounds. And because of the trauma wounds, we are scared. We have a lot of fear inside our bodies. We are not in our bodies. So we dissociate. We are not within ourselves. A lot of people, especially in the, spiritual community, they have trauma wounds, meaning that they feel they are hyper-vigilant. They feel a stress within themselves. It's extremely difficult to relax during the day, to feel safe during the day. So we stress, we work, we distract. We can have a very difficult time initiate actions, doing constructive good things in our life. Instead, we do things by deadline, or we overwork, or we are impulsive, and then the energy is lost and we can't do anything. We have a lot of issues. And the way I'm working with that right now is to help people get in contact with their own emotions, or rather express your emotions. Not your words, not trying to think what you should say, but feel what you should say. No matter if you think, oh my God, I can't express this, express it. There is no more time. We don't have time to wait. We don't have time to avoid things. We have to become it, address it, be it, express it now. And it solves so many things. You're not supposed to solve your own life. You're supposed to express your needs. In every meeting with every person, express what you feel. Just say it. And then things happen within you, and it happens something in the other person. And the difference between now and back in the days is that things are very different now when we enter 2025. I call this year one because it's so different from what we've been in before. Things are happening so fast, not just synchronicity that you are meeting up people now in a fast rate, but you are becoming more and more clear about what you're really feeling, about your boundaries. You're starting to object to things that don't resonate with you, and you are able to express it in a way you were not capable of doing before. If you are in a relationship with someone, you can actually start expressing what you're feeling with the other person. And the other person are less likely to shut down, but more likely to actually let you in. Constructive solutions are taking place right now. It's quite amazing times for this process, and all of these steps are leading to you waking up. It's not about reading a complicated book on spirituality. It's not about spacing out from your reality. It's about being present in your reality, present with your own feelings, your own body, your own life, the people that you have around you right now. Being present, don't dissociate, don't zoom out, be present with it. And it leads to the next step.
It's like jumping in. We've been sort of waiting on the sides and trying to figure out this thing, but we need to jump in, to trust our feelings, trust our living body, living being in these relationships that come up when I'm honest to what I feel.
It's more than trust. It's about being. And it's like, even when people say that, even if a funny thing like, okay, I'm going to jump into this, it's like I symbolically see that people are jumping in and they are missing the goal because they're still dissociating. I see like a funny thing I noticed with some guys, if that, okay, I'm really going to embrace this. I'm really going to toughen up and I'm just going to do it. And it's like they're suppressing their fear rather than being in it and still do it because you're brave. You're just like forcing yourself. And that is also a dissociation. To not dissociate is to actually be present. You have to breathe, you have to be there. You can't space out in your head with any distractions or any methods or any techniques. because these can also be a distraction, folks. If you have too many methods and techniques, every one of us knows a friend that is a bit very dogmatic with certain principles they have to follow. And if I just do this correctly and exactly, then it will be right. No, you're distracting yourself. You have to actually just be and do it. You can't have any help, any tools, any distraction. You know what to do. Your body knows what to do. Just do it.
Yeah,
it's funny.
I hear what you say, because like just forcing it to happen, it's just passing through the moment where something new could happen. You're just pushing through. Yeah.
You have to be prepared to not know what's going to happen when you express yourself.
Yeah. And that's the only place and time when something new can come up in you and in your partners, in your world. The new times, new age can come up from that I dare go over my boundaries and don't live within them anymore. I surrender to life.
Yeah, exactly. It's the only time when we are in the now. And in the now is the only time when you manifest, when you express consciously your own path. So when we dissociate, nothing ever happens because we are in the same trap. We are just avoiding.
That's right. One thing that I've noticed myself, that being conscious of where my actions start, that whenever there is a sort of a root of fear in my action, trying to do something, this is the root of fear will be expressed. It will come up. It will be the result of it will grow bigger through this action. If there is this fear that I start from, and being conscious of those fears that I carry, these unconscious fears, which often I get to know by repeating the same stupid action many times. Then I get to see, whoa, it's me. I'm starting it and getting this result, and then I get to realize it was me. I was the creator of this situation, and then I can change it, drop the fear, and start doing with some other deeper emotion.
Yeah, usually it happens many times that we are entering in the same situation again and again and again. Usually it's way more clearer. The crisis becomes way more worse until we really get it. We have to apply it. And when you look like in the back mirror, what you have been doing, if you think, oh, life is against me, but then you really look at it very clearly, you had help around you. You dissed that help. You said, no, thank you. I don't trust you. Or you started a conflict with someone when someone tried to give you certain advice, but you saw it as a threat because it challenged your fears. It challenged your boundaries. So all of the stuff that you entered into, or when you gave up your own boundaries and you needed someone and you created an imbalance for yourself instead of standing in your own ground, so to speak, you could almost see the self-sabotage if you look at it clearly. And I mean, it's funny or challenging or whatever, but it all boils down to it doesn't need to be this difficult. And it's good when we can see the fears, but the fears are also the solutions because they actually point to where you have your walls up, where you are separated.
That's right. How about you, Susann? Are you living what you're teaching?
My life has been a super challenge. I will not lie about that. Ever since I came here, it's been a challenge. So I did not choose an easy path, I can't say. But what is saving me, what keeps me going is that I still know. And I had this discussion when I came here. I don't know if your audience is aware about it. I remember past lives. So for me, the weirdness of being here, because it's definitely challenging for everyone, especially then everyone who's trying to wake up, life is extremely challenging. They actually showed me that you can go through this and you don't have to take it so personal. And I said, but you know me, I'm going to take it personal. I'm going to live this. And it was like, you're going to suffer. And I was like, yeah, I felt it was like, if I'm going to read this book and pretend and know that this is just a fantasy, it's pointless. And when we are here, it is real. If someone takes a bullet for me, it is real. They are believing that they are giving up their life for me. That is real. That says something about how we relate to each other, how we learn. So, I mean, it's been this constant shift for me of how much should I be in my present understanding, because I know better. But I think a lot of people know better. I don't think it's just me who thinks these thoughts. I know better. I think a lot of people know better. And still, we go into these traps. We go into our fears. Yeah. And I definitely feel the fears of this place. I know that they are probably not my personal fears. It's the place. When I look at this dimension, if you so will, that we're on, because we're not really on the planet. This is just a part of it. The experience here is just a dimension, because we have a limited mind that we're conscious in. So this place is not super real. I call it, it's just like a theater scene, if you so wish. But when I look at it, I call it like a cleaning mission. So when you come here, you accept a certain cleaning area or whatever that you are supposed to go through. And when you come here, you experiencing it personally for how it feels down here. And then you have to repair the relationships. And you have to deal with the concept of being an individual, which is far from normal for most of us. And sometimes it becomes too much. And if you are a helper, it's super common that you come here and you focus so much on your spiritual mission. You focus so much on helping other people. And then you realize that you have neglected your own personal life. And it's partly due to you not accepting that you are in this place, because it feels so foreign and you can't really adapt to it. And you actually at the same time want to save people so they don't have to be here either. But then you have to deal with your personal stuff. And then you start judging yourself that you can't live the personal stuff perfectly in accordance to what you know. But how could you do that? How could you live your personal life perfectly? Then you wouldn't have been separated. I mean, it really makes no sense if you think about it. You can't. But what you can do is trying to overcome the separation here. So you are actually entering this place not to build a family and a house and live like a normal life here, but you're entering this place to dismantle it, to actually shatter it while you're living it. It's like you are a complete like nomad. It's like you don't have a really home here. You don't have your family here. You don't have your real life here, perhaps, but it's like a long crisis. Your whole life may be a long crisis. I certainly felt like that. I constantly jump up and down and trying to figure out how to be placed here in my own body, how to have relationships here. I know better than to enter into personal relationships, because I can't help feeling that I should take a step back and I should help this other person. And I'm not helping them by entering there as a person with my own personal fears. And at the same time, I have to be vulnerable to allow them to transform me. And at the same time, speak as some kind of authority or keep the light up, because I should know better. It's really crazy and confusing and a bit weird, to say the least. But I just thinking that I will just address it. And I do have one great gift that I am embracing, is that I never have to forget. I never have to forget what I am. I know I can't die. I don't have that kind of hiccups. And I'm grateful for that. And I'm grateful for having this memory, so I also can support other people to really reach out with what I'm saying. I am not giving a theory. I'm not giving you a theory. I'm not giving you a guess. I'm expressing from the depth of my heart how stuff is. And also to see what is going to happen. I always been told what was going to happen and what is going to be experienced here, both on the outside and how it will feel on the inside. So, I mean...
I remember when you told me first time about your, and it comes through from you that you've been a soldier on a mission different places, taking the bullet and dying or whatever. It shows in you that that's the way you've been working. And I remember when you described when you came here and you were sort of wondering, what the fuck is this mission that I'm going to do with all these monsters around me? How do I need to kill them, or what's the thing? and you bravely taken up your mission to do something about it. And
what you're describing is how I perceived humans, because I came here and the only thing I was shown was that people will wake up. Right now they are asleep. And I was like, what? They have forgotten who they are. And now during this life, they will wake up. But I still wasn't prepared of what exactly that would mean. So when I came here and I was really, really connected up there, and of course this place looked like a nightmare to me. I thought I entered into hell, basically. And I knew this wasn't reality. I knew this was like in a mental prison of sorts. Mm. But when I looked at humans, and when someone is not connected with themselves, now we are used to looking at each other, so we don't think we look weird. But I tell you, we look very weird. Because it's like you have your ego personality, but then you have your soul personality. And these things are completely disconnected. And the people looked crazy. Yes, they looked like monsters to me. And I thought that they were not safe. And I think a lot of like what you call star children actually feel more safe with animals than humans. Because animals are not that disconnected, but humans are. So you don't feel safe with humans. And for me, they looked like a threat. And I could see that they were basically hurting nature and animal. And I thought that the people I looked at was the problem. But then they said, no, everyone is like that. And if you just embrace that idea, it becomes pretty obvious that the real danger here is not really who is pulling what thread, but that humans are doing this to humans. Right now, there are humans shooting humans. We can start by ending that. We can all agree as humans to stop doing that. And then we can also agree to start being kind towards each other in relationships. Because the drama is taking place everywhere, not just in wars, but in the relationships. It's so common with one person in a relationship being an avoidant and what's called emotional unavailable person. So one person is avoiding love or feeling feelings, whatever, because they're overwhelmed, they're shut down, they're avoidant. And the other person is needy. So the needy person is called an empath. Funny enough, they're called empaths, the good guys. And they don't love themselves. The empaths don't love themselves. So they are trying to get the love from this poor avoidant person who comes off as a really bad guy, who is discarding them, abusing them because they are not responding with love. And if you watch this carefully, that's the problem of the whole world, really. It is. I want love. I'm not going to give you love, and I don't trust to. That's the whole problem right there in the personal relationships, the same in wars, in how the society is run.
But do you see that this conflict can ever be solved? And where is it solved? Like, where does the, how does the ego start to reflect the deeper loving soul that we all carry? When does this union happen?
It's happening now. And I'm not saying that, they say that every year. I'm actually saying it's happening this year. This is called year one for me for a reason, because all bets are off. There's no more theory now. It's practicality. And I always look for themes. So since this year started, incredible things have started to happen. One, people are setting up their own boundaries. And for some weird reason, we have been super bad at that. So some people, they just realize that, oh my God, I have not been honest to the people around me. And suddenly they are brutally honest. And they may feel also that I can't go to my work. I don't have a plan B, but this is wrong. I'm going against myself. So no more burnouts for me. I'm just quitting. And so people are setting out their boundaries. And the next thing I noticed after that is that things are happening in relationships. Suddenly, you are meeting up with people, and instead of going into the usual, you don't understand me and whatever, you are expressing what you're feeling to the other person, and the other person is not shutting you down, but actually letting you in. And so many women now have spoken to me and said, okay, Susann, something has happened. And I have to recognize this weird thing, is that we're lashing out to men who are not getting it. And suddenly they just stop and listen and opening themselves up and getting it. And then stepping up to protect us. Like, what? What's going on? This is not how things go. We're supposed to fight and quarrel and go separate ways. We're not supposed to get along.
That's good news.
Yeah, it's good news. And finally, I think men and women are finding themselves into the manifestation part. The male and the feminine, in whatever shape and form these are meeting, I don't care if you're gay or whatever, it's always going to be male and feminine energy that are meeting. There's always going to be these two roles. And they are meeting up now to manifest. So things are really starting happening. And because time is speeding up so fast, it's happening fast. I'm sure that our purpose was always to manifest together and making things, create things together. But time were so slow before, so we could live lifetimes in order to meet each other in one life to finally have a relationship. But now it's happening in weeks. For some reason, it's going super fast. And now we can see it, and it looks like magic. And it also becomes very clear that this is the purpose. We can't save the world if men or women are living in different camps. We can't save the world. We can't. We need each other. So the women, they have all these feelings, and they don't have to manifest it. And men are coming there, they're stepping in, they're clarifying the emotions, they are solving it with practical actions, while we are keeping up the purpose of why men should do these actions. It all makes very much sense. It's like we haven't experienced it. We have been at war with each other and misunderstandings, and you hurt me. Yeah. But now it's actually working out.
Yeah, it's like when we meet with man and a woman meet in this manner as you describe, then it's sort of dissolving our inner conflict that we have carried, which we have reflected upon the world in our relationships and also in the big way with all those wars and things going on on the world scale. So this is the thing.
Yeah. And we couldn't do it before, I think. I think we pushed ourselves, and why isn't nothing working? I'm alone, or I'm suffering, I'm not doing it right, I can't express my mission, I can't express my creativity. And now we can actually start doing this, guys. I really want to encourage everyone, like, now is actually the time. And I think that you have to really be living under a rock if you haven't noticed the changes. It's definitely there. I think everyone is noticing this. Everyone who's supposed to wake up now, as it's called, is noticing it.
Right. And where do you see, or have you been given any sort of instructions or whatever, or where is all this leading us during 2025 and further on? Where we are heading to?
Well, we are heading to the original mission here, waking up. And if you notice that the people who are sleeping, so to speak, they have already zoomed out, and by a lot of reasons they disconnected from themselves. It's like you kind of make a choice right now. I'm not saying that anyone is lost forever, but at this time around, because what is really happening, and I think this is what is confusing for people, is this place is not physical reality. I can't express that enough. I wished for everyone to have the same experience as I had when I came here, but I think everyone deep inside know that this is not home. Everyone has a longing for another place, and it's not a coincidence that you long for another place. It's not because, I'm not human, I'm alien, therefore I don't belong to this place. No one belongs to this place. This place isn't real. It's only the manifestation of a very limited conscious mind perception. When you dream at night, you are in other parts of your mind, but you can't comprehend it when you wake up and you're here. The first thing that happens when you wake up in the morning is that you memorize who you are. Oh, I'm Susann, and I am in this city, and I'm supposed to do this today because it's Monday. Why? Why is my brain so quick to tell me who I am and what I should eat for breakfast? Why?
Yeah.
Because you're all of this. It's like a programmed set of mind. It's the same thing when people die and they come back here. And it's like, oh, I've been away for a while, like when you have been asleep and I wake up in the morning, I wake up here and I continue doing this. No, it's time to wake up. You don't belong here. You have been stuck in a rut. And so where this process is leading is when you connect back to yourself, you're not going to perceive reality as it is right now for yourself. And the crisis, some people will say that the crisis will be natural disasters, it will be wars, it will be starvation and chaos and all of that. But that is just one side of the story. When you have to break your concept of this ego individuality, when we come together, as I addressed in the beginning, that is scary. It's scary to break patterns for the ego. It's very scary. And that is kind of like the apocalypse of crisis, to letting go of your very limited idea of what you are and who you are. And you're not supposed to look for yourself on the outside. You're supposed to be real with who you are, with what you are. And you become yourself by expressing yourself and admitting your own feelings, connecting your own brain. You don't have to figure things out. You just have to be honest with yourself and with the people around you. Yeah. And right now you're living a lie. You're compromising way too much. You are going against yourself way too much. You're putting things into the future way too much. You're not in the now.
I love the way when you do this, like you describe the limited mind or consciousness that we live from or through. And then I was thinking about it, I saw like the thorn crown of Christ, the thorns that sort of create, they hurt, they create pain, and we hold on to this crown, and we don't want to let go of it because we learn to be that. We learn that life is suffering, waiting for a goal of happiness somewhere, someday, maybe in heaven or somewhere.
Yeah, to be a king, to be a god is to suffer.
Yeah, it's been a misconception. It's not true. And one thing I'd like to, like you said, that we are not home from here. I also have some kind of idea of coming to because of the call to help around, but somehow, like, the ultimate home is not the planet where I come from, maybe, or the spaceship, but the ultimate home for me is the divine core in me, the God or life itself or whatever, which is in everybody. I mean, when I get to connect to that instead of this crown of thorns, then I am at home, even though the world around seems to go in pieces and in turmoil, whatever. But I am at home, and then I get to travel here or wherever life needs me. That's where I go. And that's the fun part of this game, that you can wake up here to your own divinity as a creator, and then sort of create in spite of what seems to be going around.
Yeah, very well described. I mean, doesn't matter what kind of being in the universe you are. I mean, there is only one home, and that is being true to yourself. You do have like this connection with yourself, and in the center of you is the world, is God, is everything, and you are everything. And you can't ever dissociate from that. So if people just focus on, I'm not feeling home here, but maybe I'm feeling home with my group over there, they're still dissociating from, you have to be at home here. And it doesn't matter if you're here on Mars or whatever. If you are here, you're always home, and you can travel anywhere. It's absolutely true.
Yeah. I think this kind of sums it up. We have, or do you have something else you want to say? We have 10 minutes to the hour that is set for us, but please.
We have addressed very much. So, I mean, I think it's been a really good talk. This is usually the time. Does anyone have any questions? Now we have to imagine what possible questions people may have. based on what we have been discussing. I mean, usually people ask these two kind of questions. And one is, what will happen this year? The other is, what can I do to make this happen? That is usually what people are focused on, because you can see the vision. Yes, this is going to happen. And then you shut down the computer and you go to your kitchen, you prepare a meal, and then like, okay, but what am I doing today? What am I going to do today? Am I still going to go to my work, or what am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
And this is the tricky part, because I do have to remind everyone that there is just one now. And even if the ego will protest for you entering into that now, it will say, no, focus on the dishes, focus on your next month plan and on your career and on bunkering food. If in case there is war, you should go and live in the forest. That is ego talking. Ego wants to distract you from being present in your conversation with yourself, with the other person. It needs to distract you from the now. I could recommend everyone to start talking slowly, to feel every word. Talk slowly.
Yeah.
When you feel every word. It's another thing that I've been investing in now is the sound. So I will definitely be talking more about that. A great guy that inspired me a lot called Joseph. He's working with voice. He discovered that everything comes from the vibration of our own sound. That is how we manifest. That's how we become ourselves. So actually you can help yourself staying present by just feeling the vibration of you. That's it. That's basically it. If you feel a certain feeling right now, it can be anxiety, it can be something that scares you, you don't know what it is. You don't have to know what it is. You just have to express it. Whatever it is. And allow yourself to be. As difficult as it seems, your promise to yourself this year is not to make things more complicated. It's actually to dismantle the complications, because that is ego. Your greatest meetup this year is with yourself, presence with yourself, presence with the people around you. That's it.
Make it simple.
Yes, make it simple. And in that connection, in that being there for yourself, even your practical things and stuff you have going on will first look clearer. You will know what to do with them.
I have learned that whenever
Second, you will actually very quickly notice synchronicity to help you sort things out. But because all the complications around you, still not coming from the outside, it's only coming from your mind and your perception, remember? You have to accept that. You have to accept that the stuff around you is not holding you, you are holding it. And it's coming from here. So when you are honest with yourself and your true honesty about what you really want, not put that out another half year, just now, feel it now. You're going to see it clearly, and you're going to be able to dismantle it from here. And that's going to actually dissolve things and arrange it for a way that is in accordance with you. So no more distraction and dissociation. My last message here is to be present. Even if the ego will protest, it wants to distract you, focus on something else, ignore it, be.
Yeah, the thing I wanted to add to this was that I've learned that when I just let things be, just like you said, I don't need to carry things. They just pop up and I do them. They just pop up, and one after another, and everything gets done within the time. And if it doesn't mean I'm not worried about anything anymore. Just things happen. I meet them. I do what I need to do, and then let go. And the next thing and next thing. It's just being present with whatever comes up.
Yeah. and daring to feel the feelings, I may add as well.
Sure.
Because some people, they say, I just let go, and then they dissociate from feeling. I want us to be able to feel what we're feeling and then accepting what we're feeling in the presence of letting go.
Yes, because the feelings are like we men are used to just closing them within ourselves so that we lose the connection or have lost the connection to God within us. And the feelings are the way there, not our intellect. It can give some hints and directions, but you have to feel your way there. You have to go all the way, and feelings are the way to the divinity within us.
Yeah, think about it, what our parents did or didn't do. The first basic need for a child is for the parents to be attuned with their feelings.
Yeah.
So if we can't do that for ourselves, if I can't attune to what I'm feeling, I am doing what I didn't want my parents to do. Ignoring my feelings, try to explain them away. Don't feel like that. Be positive, like gaslighting you. So if we don't want that to happen to us when we were a child, please don't do it to yourself right now either. Be the parent to yourself that you always wanted.
You nailed it there, Susann. That's it. That's the way forward. I think we're fine with this discussion. We've come a long way, and yeah, thank you from the depth of my heart that you wanted to share this hour with me and with our listeners and watchers.
Yeah, thank you so much for being here. And it was really good discussion, and I hope people felt enlightened and hopeful with it.
I'm sure. All right. Thank you, Susann.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.